No one's turning that kind of money down. We've all heard it. It is the most common justification of players like Cristiano Ronaldo, Jordan Henderson, and Ruben Neves joining Saudi Arabian football clubs owned and operated by the Saudi state. Some massive number gets quoted, let's just say £300 million a second for the sake of argument, and a load of people respond, "Wow, that's a lot of money. No one could say no to that." Several high-profile players have already rejected extremely lucrative contract offers from Saudi Arabia. Lionel Messi is arguably the greatest footballer of all time and received the most lucrative contract offer of them all, worth a reported €500 million a season, to play for Al Hilal, but he turned it down in favour of a move to Inter Miami, where he will earn $54 million a season. Messi's Saudi rejection is pretty well known, but I thought that it might be interesting to take a look at a handful of other players who, for a variety of reasons, have said no to earning 2, 3, or sometimes even 20 times as much as they currently earn to play in a tyrannical dictatorship in West Asia. Sergio Ramos. One of the most decorated footballers of all time, Sergio Ramos has racked up over 800 club appearances, 180 international caps for Spain, and has won 28 trophies, including the Champions League, European Championships, and the World Cup over the past 2 decades. Now aged 37, and off the back of 2 seasons playing for Qataria and PSG, one might have imagined that Ramos wouldn't have had too many qualms about relocating to Jeddah and reuniting with Karim Benzema at Al Ittihad, especially after he was offered €20 million a season. That's more than Ramos ever earned by either Real Madrid or PSG in his prime, even before one accounts for the absence of any income tax in Saudi Arabia. Nonetheless, Ramos turned down the state-owned franchise, who are coached by Nuno Espirito Santo, along with a fairly lucrative offer, reportedly worth €11 million a season, from Galatasaray, in order to rejoin his boyhood club Sevilla. Ramos was born in Seville, came through the Sevilla Academy, and made his name in the club's first team before becoming the most expensive Spanish defender and teenager of all time in a move to Real Madrid in 2005. He even went back and got married in Seville in 2019. Ramos returned 18 years on, reportedly on a deal worth €2 million a season, so just 10% of what he could have earned with Al Ittihad. Angel Di Maria. Chronically underrated here in England, thanks largely to a somewhat underwhelming season, which still wasn't actually that bad at Manchester United. Angel Di Maria is one of the most decorated and accomplished wide players of the past 2 decades. Now aged 35, Di Maria still started and scored for Argentina in the World Cup final last season and made 40 appearances at Juventus. Unsurprisingly then, he wasn't short of offers this summer as a free agent, one of which was from Saudi Arabia. Di Maria described the offer that he received from an unnamed Saudi club, owned by the Saudi state, as crazy, but that he had his heart set on Benfica. Di Maria has always emphasized his gratitude to Benfica, who brought him to Europe from Rosario Central as a 19-year-old, and the law of one last dance, so to speak, in the Portuguese capital, proved to be too great. Di Maria has already made a blistering start to life back at Benfica, rolling back the years with 3 goals and 2 assists in his first 4 appearances, including the opening goal in the final of the Portuguese Super Cup against Porto, which Benfica went on to win 3-2. Heung-min Son. Having lost their all-time record goal scorer Harry Kane this summer, it would have been a bitter pill to swallow for Spurs fans had they also lost Heung-min Son, their second most important player of the last decade, and their 6th highest scorer of all time. Thankfully then, when Saudi Arabia came calling, some said thanks but no thanks. An unnamed Saudi club was prepared to make an opening bid of €60 million for Son and quadruple his after-tax income, but some wanted at least one more season in the Premier League. Luka Modric. There is barely a member of Real Madrid's 2018 Champions League winning team, which the Saudi state hasn't tried to sign, in 2023. They have managed to win over Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema with gargantuan contract offers, but midfield duo Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, plus Sergio Ramos, have all held firm. Not only did Kroos swiftly reject Saudi interest in him before a firm offer had even been tabled, he also described it as embarrassing that 21-year-old Spanish U2 international and Celta Vigo star Gabri Veiga joined Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia. His old comrade Luka Modric, meanwhile, who is about to turn 38 and just entered his 12th season playing for Real Madrid, was offered an eye-watering €100 million 2-year deal in Saudi Arabia, plus a €20 million signing-on bonus. That is 3 times as much as Modric earns, €20 million a season, at Real Madrid, or close to 6 times as much once you take taxes into account. It is one of the largest offers made to a player by the Saudi state. Modric has won it all in European football and no longer has anything to prove, but still he turned it down, signing a 1-year extension with Madrid instead. Al Hilal, the club who Modric would have joined, have since signed Alexander Mitrovic and Neymar. Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku is a world-class centre-forward, except for when he is at Chelsea. Away from Stamford Bridge, Lukaku has scored 265 goals in 531 games at club level, so a goal every other game, and 75 goals from 108 caps on the international stage, so even better than a goal every other game. At Chelsea, however, Lukaku has only managed to score 15 goals in 59 games across 2 separate stints, the second of which was preceded by an almost £100 million move. That left both Chelsea and Lukaku with a bit of a dilemma this summer. Last season, Lukaku reached a Champions League final on loan with his former club Inter Milan, who he was desperate to rejoin, so much so that he basically wouldn't even entertain the idea of going anywhere else. Unfortunately, Inter couldn't scump up the funds to pay Lukaku's wages, nor the fee that Chelsea were demanding. Al Hilal didn't just offer to cover Lukaku's reported £320,000 a week wages at Chelsea, but to almost treble them to £45 million a season, or close to £1 million a week. Lukaku still said no because, however much money they were offering, Al Hilal still aren't Inter Milan, but a day before the transfer window slammed shut, Lukaku finally had to give up on his dream of returning to the San Siro. He has, at least, returned to Serie A, reportedly taking a significant pay cut to join AS Roma on loan, where he will be reunited with Jose Mourinho. Roma paid Chelsea an £8 million loan fee, are covering Lukaku's entire reduced salary demands, and have the option to sign the Belgian on a permanent basis at the end of the season for £37 million.